Let's
guys.
go.
All right. Good luck, boys.
Good luck, bud.
All right.
All right, there we go. We're good. Let me switch over to the main overlay here. I totally forgot to do that. My bad, but hey, they're loading the level anyway. We're in. And right off the bat, both players have instantly face planted into the first saw. I was so excited, knew that was going to be the first thing that almost everyone does. But here we go. It's week one, game one, DanGheesling versus HCJustin. Right off the bat, we're going to see who figures out this first series of obstacles. As you can see, they're both already trying to figure out how these conveyor jumps are going to work. You're going to want to use the conveyor's momentum to push you forward. And you can see they're both trying to figure out, all right, what am I supposed to do here? But I think whoever gets this first jump will have a clear early lead, because I'm honestly surprised. I think they've already given up on just running it forward and jumping there. Oh, Justin had the right idea. So an interesting thing about this is you can actually get pretty close to that first saw as you approach the jump. And Justin, there you go. He's got it. He's already in. Dan getting very close as well. But I think they've gotten the idea here that you just need to delay your jump as late as possible so you get that boost. But I think once they have this, they'll be good to go. You can see Justin getting plenty of air, making his way through each individual jump. He hasn't figured quite out yet that the next jump over is a spin jump, but I'm sure he'll figure that out soon. But again, you can see Justin there. These jumps happen so much quicker than you think. It feels like you're going at a consistent pace, but then you land on a conveyor, and then you just instantly gain a huge burst of momentum, and that's tough to manage. I think once you do get the hang of it, though, these guys are going to start making their way through the level a lot easier. I think we can see Justin has pretty quickly grasped that the conveyors are used to get that extra boost of speed. Dan's figuring it out too, though. They're both pretty much equally tied now. They both made to the same jump. Justin has made his way through each next jump, though, kind of skipping the next one with no death. But interestingly enough, he's not using spin jump, so that might cost him a little bit in terms of progress. But both players understanding that momentum is the key here, and we'll see exactly how that goes. At some point during this, we could also potentially unmute and kind of hear some of the commentary from the players. I do want to say, if you guys are watching, or at any point you're going to go watch individual players, clip away and send me your Twitch clips. I want to make some highlight videos for each week as well, so some clips submitted by chat will be very useful. As Dan making his way through the next jump, almost reaching to the point Justin got before, but Justin's still slightly in the lead here. As we're still only 3 minutes in, we got plenty of time here to make it through this first section, and you can see Justin, he wants to take those jumps a bit faster than he thinks he needs to, and that's the big issue with this map, is it kind of messes with your Mario Maker knowledge. As we have Dan here again making it to that jump and having some emotive responses. And again, for those of you that don't know, it is a 1 hour time limit, so if no player beats the level in 1 hour, whoever makes it the furthest will win. And right now, Justin is leading as he makes another big step forward, making it to the middle section of that saw jump. So again, just holds a slight lead over Dan. But I will be surprised if both players don't make it to the first checkpoint. I'd expect them both to make it there, even especially after seeing just this first few jumps. They've gotten it pretty quick, what they're supposed to do. Again, Justin just jumping a bit too early there. It's all about timing on this first section. It's pretty much a hold right and jump section, and the jumps themselves aren't too touchy. They aren't too tight. It's really just when you jump that's tight. So we'll go ahead and see if Dan can make a little bit more progress here. They're both making the same mistake, which is they're jumping too quickly. They're not regaining their conveyor belt momentum as they go along, and that's costing them speed. As you can see, you just have to land and go with the conveyor. Trust that the conveyor will launch you where you need to go, and that is how it'll work. And you can see like they were dying over and over on the first 2 jumps, but now they're both successfully getting past the first 2 jumps with no problem. So that's that Mario Maker learning process that you can see in real time. As it definitely seems that Justin is more consistent right now. He's making it slightly further every time than Dan is, but Dan making some progress as well. I mean, this is as close as it can be. Justin still not going for that spin jump. And I hope that these players do figure out the spin jump soon, because later on in this section, the spin jumps become extremely helpful. Anyway, we're about 6 minutes in now. Let's go ahead and take a listen to Dan here and see what he has to say about the level.
All right. If you're not feeling it, that's okay. All we ask for is emote authenticity. Okay, so we held that a little too long. It's got to be frame perfectity here, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, little late. All right, new strat.
I see Dan.
No new strats. All right.
There you go. He's learned. And hey, we'll go ahead and bring him down a touch here. I'll say, since these maps are so difficult, taking suggestions from chat is totally A-okay. I encourage the streamers to read their chats. There's not a lot that can be spoiled. It's really about... and you can see immediately how Dan has, I think, taken the lead here now. He's figured out the spin jumps, and he's got his first lead of the game. Unless I miss Justin get a little bit farther. They're neck and neck again. Neck and neck. But you can see how significant of a difference the spin jump makes. Let's go ahead and take a listen into Justin now to see how he's feeling about this.
I was telling a story about how there was a streamer I followed who, like, I even liked. I will not spin.
Oh, no.
Don't ever suggest it to me again. Like, it's literally never going to happen. I will die at this level for an hour straight before I spin jump. You need to accept this.
Well, that might be a game changer here.
Where even if you're right, I'm going to not do it out of spite. Just so you know.
Well, that could easily change things here. Are they a little quiet? I'll turn them up a bit louder next time so you guys can hear a bit better. But, I mean, he's technically right in that a spin jump is never really required unless you're spin jumping onto something, because you can do the same jump with a regular jump. But again, it's that easier to control momentum that allows you to make these jumps more consistently. But again, even with Dan's knowledge of the spin jump, you can see the timing still gets to him. He still has a tough time making it through those specific little jumps. As we're getting close to our 10-minute marker here. Both players still in the first section, which is no surprise. Again, I think the common end place for this week will be the second section. I think that's where most players will probably be by the hour time limit. At least that's my prediction here. But anyway, we're going to see who will make it out of that saw tunnel first, as both players have made it into it, but not quite made it out of it yet. But they pretty much got the layout of the map at this point. They understand the conveyor momentum, and it's just a matter of getting the timing right. As both players, like I said, pretty much, one might be slightly further than the other, but at this point, they're pretty much neck and neck. Now let's go ahead and take another listen in to Dan here, see how he's feeling now that he's figured out the spin jumps.
Too early. We got to get to the point where we can let it rip. Let it rip. Okay. Why are we rushing that, chat? You're on audio
Justin's made a big jump forward. Justin with the lead now. No spin jump required.
I appreciate that, Fury. Let it rip, kid. Let it rip.
Big jumps by Dan.
Okay.
You can see he's feeling it.
How does he have how does he got our live audio? He's got our live. You're here. Look, if you're part of the Wolf crew, smiley faces in chat. If you're rooting for the number 6 underdog out of the Midwest,
he knows how to control
mean
the
faces
crowd.
in chat, no. Winky faces in chat. If you're rooting from the kid out of Florida, New York.
All right, let's go back to Justin here because he's made a big leap in progress, even without the spin jump here.
Oh.
But both players still struggling with those first few jumps as well.
It's 3:11, folks. Do you know where your children are?
He's not wrong. Well, I mean, he's wrong for Central Time, but what are you going to do? Again, Justin with that slight lead. We'll see if he can keep repeating that progress.
Critical, I thank you.
He seems to be pretty focused now. But Dan making some progress, but just missing the jump right there.
All right. Told you, it's just not good. It's just no good.
But anyway, what is Dan doing? I didn't see what those were. Were those M&Ms? Probably almonds or something. I feel like he says almonds a lot. But regardless, Justin seems to be making the most progress here, even without the spin jumps. He seems to be consistently making it to the, I'd call it by the second to last section before the checkpoint. He's definitely got the leg up here. But if Dan continues with his spin jump progress, he could easily breeze through that section, knowing that the spin jump is what he needs. But interesting to see which player reaches the first checkpoint first. As Justin's still making great progress here. Has the jumps lined up, but a slightly smaller jump. And that's where that spin jump effect comes into play. If you just spin jump there, you don't have to gauge your jumps. As long as you hit the button, you'll make it over those saws. So that's why I think Dan could easily breeze through that section. If he just makes it there. He's having trouble with that 3 saw jump. But I think if he gets past there, he could easily sweep through the next part. Because the next part is pretty much all spins. And here he goes. He makes it. Spin, spin, spin. One more spin. Oh, he doesn't get it. But he gets close. Justin still with the slight lead, as I believe he died on the saw to the right as opposed to the saw to the left. But huge progress by Dan there. And again, we are very close between each competitor. And that's what I like to see. Even if neither competitor makes it to the end, as long as they're still close, it's going to be exciting to watch no matter what. And again, that first checkpoint, such a huge deal. Being able to make progress in the second section before the other player can be very key to getting a lead. I think if anyone's going to get a lead, it's going to be something along those lines where they make it to a checkpoint that the other player hasn't gotten to. That's when leads will start to break out for sure. But Dan making good time here. Another selection of good spin jumps. Spin again, but slightly too high. I've kind of lost place on where Justin has made it, but I think someone said in chat that he made it slightly further than that, so I still think he has a slight lead. If not, it is tied together. If it becomes very close, we will have to go to the footage to see who is further, which means that the winner will be delayed probably, because I will have to go back and find the winner through footage. But no worries. I mean, I'm sure it won't stay exactly tied for too long. They're both so close. The harder part of this is the first section. I think that's why they've taken so long to get to this point, but it's definitely harder early on. Those last few jumps are pretty easy as long as you know they're coming and you can make your way through them. And you know, as people in chat are saying, lots of time left here too. And again, that second section is really going to be key here. As Justin making some good progress again, but just not making it through that last set of saws. Dan as well, just mistiming a jump there. As again, both players pretty much neck and neck, virtually tied at this point in terms of progress made. But I'm happy to say that it's Dan that has already shown that he's, I think, going to compete. He's looking like a strong competitor already, as Justin still having trouble with that same saw. Could have taken the lead there, but dies in the same spot. As we can go ahead and we can take a listen in on Dan again to see how he's feeling now that he's made a bit more progress.
Just got to clutch up. Just got to clutch up. Just got to clutch up, ladies and gentlemen. Just clutch up. We're driving an automatic car, but you just got to clutch up. Just got to clutch up, you know? You could be driving down the road in your Toyota Tercel, and you're like, hey, it's an automatic car. But even though it's an automatic car, you can still clutch up. All right, here we go. Let it rip, kid. Frame perfecticity.
He's got the energy.
Frame perfecticity.
He's got the energy to do it. But Justin
to jump at the correct
making
time.
some progress here.
Go get some dang front, dang.
Justin takes the lead with a couple of big jumps.
He's reached a new great distance.
But Dan not far behind. I think Justin got a bit further. I can't say for sure, but instantly we're back to a close game.
New high point.
But both players are just about equal consistency.
I've not heard of such things. Idiots tell me it's called Z, and like that just makes no sense. There's no Z on a controller. What, you're telling me they got fucking A through X?
Dan taking the lead here.
XZ? They leave Y out.
But both players still close, neither making it to the first objective or the first checkpoint, excuse me. But Dan now with the lead again. We're going back and forth here as both players making incremental progress as they move along. And it is an extremely close match. Again, that first checkpoint, so pivotal right now. It could easily make the difference. As Dan, again, spin jumping through the tunnel, but getting a little bit behind. Justin in the tunnel as well, making his way through, taking the jumps, but dies to that saw again. Seems to be a struggle point for him, that specific jump right there through the thin tunnel. Dan, again, in the large tunnel, but again, slightly too far to the right, lets himself stay in the conveyor for too long. As Justin, again in the tunnel, but takes too high of a jump. And both players, again, you can just see how Mario Maker gives you that consistency. The more you play, the more you see the level, the more you go through the level, the better you get at it and the more progress you make over time. As Dan, again, making it through. Good jumps. Again, gets to the point that he was at before, but stays on the conveyor a bit too long. But again, that is the point of the lead right now. Justin making his way through there, though, and making it slightly further, makes the jump and dies on the saw. So Justin takes the lead. He doesn't make the jump, but that still counts as the lead. Again, it's just progress through the level. So even if you die, that still counts as progress to the right. So Justin, again, making good progress to the same area. He is really killing it. He might be our first checkpoint here. And that surprises me, him not using the spin jump strategy. It seems to not affect him, which is impressive to say the least. And Justin again, not quite making it through that jump. Both players struggling still with that timing. It's the spin jump versus the non-spin jump. Who will make it first? They are both so close to the first checkpoint. They have both made it extremely close. Justin getting his way through. One more jump to go. Oh, no, he didn't make it through. It's actually, sorry, 2 more jumps after that. If he goes through those saws, hits the conveyor and jumps one more time, that is the first checkpoint. So Justin just a couple jumps away, but Dan not far off. Still struggling with the timing of this first section. Early restarts like this, they cost you time. The more and more you have, the more and more time it's going to cost you. As Justin has another early death there. Dan making his way into the tunnel, taking a little bit of time here. Ooh, spin jumps a little too high through the small tunnel. But again, it's anyone's game right now. But look for the player to get that checkpoint to maybe jump ahead. We'll have to see. 40 minutes remain. Still plenty of time left for both players. As both of them take a couple of early deaths again. But I'm happy with the progress I'm seeing from these players. Justin still with a slight lead. But who do you guys think is going to make that first checkpoint? Show those emotes in chat. If you got Justin emotes, vote for Justin. If you got Dan emotes, vote for Dan. Who do you think is going to make it to that first checkpoint first? Seems to be a pretty even split in chat, which is, I think, accurate here, as both players kind of regressing a bit, missing those early timings, as they seem to be dying on the same style. That happens. Sometimes you get into such a groove that if your groove slightly shifts into one direction or another, you can start dying over and over to the same objective that you already once completed. So that can definitely cause issues, as you can see here, as both players, in quite some time now, haven't made it to the tunnel. And in the past, they were consistently making it there. So both of them kind of losing their mojo and looking to get it back here. And I think the first person to get it back will make it to that checkpoint. Let's go ahead and take a listen in on Dan again here.
All right, gibberish. I mean, GS gibberish strats. You can. What's the crook of the jib?
Oh,
Crook of the jib. All right.
Didn't get enough speed from the conveyor.
You know, some people focus, we unfocus. Some people dial, we dial. Some people try to use their brain, we don't use our brain. Not in this context. We turn it off. Rely on the mid-80s vernacular. All right. Get me off main audio.
You know, we'll take it. He's a bit superstitious. We'll take him off. We'll respect it. Getting a little nervous. But both players making some progress here. But Justin into the tunnel, but not quite out of the tunnel. But again, Justin with that slight lead here. But it won't matter if Daniel can make it to that first checkpoint, or even just slightly further. Although it's hard to get any farther than Justin without getting the checkpoint. As Justin making some jumps here. Solid progress, but into the saw. Couldn't quite make the jump. Both players having a bit of a frustrating time here, as again, that regression has hit pretty hard. But it seems to be that Justin might be breaking out of it. He's making it to the tunnel a bit more consistently than Dan is right now. And since he has the lead, that means he's feeling pretty comfortable right now. Good progress by Justin again, but can't quite make that small jump. But again, both players still trying to make it past that first section of a couple jumps. They had it down earlier, but again, Justin doing pretty good though. Back in the tunnel, back out of the tunnel, back through the jump he's struggling with. Over that, a couple more jumps to go, but he overshoots the conveyor. You can see the arrow leading to the checkpoint right there. He has made a bit more progress though, and extends his lead over Dan. But Dan back into the tunnel for the first time, but gets a little too slow on the jumps again. But again, still a close game. Even though Justin has extended his lead here, anything can happen. We're still not even halfway through our first game as Dan back in the tunnel, making some progress again. Has the spin jumps, but again, spin jumps slightly too high. Justin out of the tunnel as well, but into the top saw. As Dan has seemed to break, he's seemed to break out of his regression here as he's making some good progress. He's making the spin jumps. Big jump over, but not quite enough. He does gain a little bit of ground on Justin there, but still not quite where he needs to be. But you can see he's got a rhythm again. Let's see if he can maintain it. And this game is still just so close. It's really just a matter of who will get those last few jumps. I think that might decide the winner here since we're approaching 30 minutes. But, I mean, I could be wrong. If both players make it to the checkpoint at the same time, I mean, we're going to be pretty much tied again. Let's go ahead and listen in on Justin here, see how he's feeling.
Oh. My eyes feel like they're not in Mario mode anymore. I think the game looks like a blur. I need to like, it's like a magic eye. I think my eyes are too relaxed. I need to focus like a laser. Bah. Consoles for me for the longest time have been just, that's the place where you play sports games, rhythm games, and platformers. That's just how.
Dan making some progress. Let's listen in. He's making the jumps. Oh, but he misses the saw again.
Gotta hold. We gotta hold. You gotta hold.
So close.
We gotta hold a little bit. Just gotta hold one more frame perfecticity.
But you can see both players, and you see Justin mentioning it there. Both players hitting that fatigue, and I think both players now breaking out of that fatigue. They're starting to make progress again and getting slightly further each time. And that's huge here as, again, they're just both so close to that checkpoint. Justin, again, has seen the arrow that leads to it. Just a couple more jumps to go. But struggling with that small tunnel. I think if the spin jumps are hurting him anywhere, it's at that tunnel. I think he's gotten the other ones down pretty well, that it's not really a problem for him anymore. But that specific jump is very hard to time. And we'll just have to see if Dan can take the lead here, or if Justin's going to make that checkpoint. Dan timing it well. Spin jumps down, another one, but oh, doesn't get quite far enough. You can see he's kind of second guessing himself and slowing down on the conveyors, and you don't want to do that. Whenever you do that, you really lose your self momentum. As Justin still can't quite make it over that saw. So close. Dan, again, you can see that little backup. The backup on the conveyor, it costs some momentum, and you can still make the jumps, but it really kind of messes with the flow of the map when you do that, and it makes it a bit more difficult. But Dan really making progress right now. You can see him clearing this section over and over and over. He's got the lines, but a little bit too far on that small conveyor. But seems to be doing well. Like, he's not struggling as much with that first jump anymore. Justin, again, making a little bit of progress here, but not quite making it over the 3 saws. And we can definitely see that I think Dan's here to compete. You know, even just in this game 1, he's maintaining, he's keeping the game close. Even though he is slightly behind here, he's still keeping it close and well within striking distance. as Justin back out of the tunnel again. Not quite, though. Dan as well, close to the tunnel here. He's inside of it. He's a little behind on jumps, but he makes it through. Small jump there. Spin as well. Jump over. He's making progress. Dan! He gets all the way. I think he's ahead now. I think he's in the lead. I think Justin fell into the pit, and Dan made it to the saw. I'm pretty sure that's a lead. And we are again almost tied, but Dan with a slight lead because he managed to hit the saw instead of fall into the pit. And at the halfway point, again, we're almost tied, essentially. Which player will get that checkpoint first? It'll be such a huge deal. Again, getting a checkpoint really early on is nice, but if you get stuck on the next section, it'll allow that next player to catch up. But since both players are so close, that first checkpoint becomes so much more important. People are saying that Justin potentially hit the saw as well. I may have missed that. If he did, then we are essentially tied again, and it will go to a video footage tiebreaker, which I hope that doesn't happen because we won't be able to announce a winner until after the show, or we'll do it at the end of the show. How about that? If we do have a tie that's too close to call, we will go to video footage after all of the games are done and assess who is the victor. That'll be the play if that ends up happening. But we will see, as both players doing so well in this first section, but they just can't seem to bring it all together. Who is going to bring it together first? Again, both players are both tied on the same. They both died on the same object right now. Let's go ahead and listen in on Dan again, as it's been a minute since we've heard from him.
Have a timer? Okay. Okay. I would really love to beat the level, but
I think we're going out of that being in the realm of possibility for either player here.
All right, here we go. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Justin. Oh, he overshoots the conveyor again.
Good. That's Mo. This is Mo. We want some Mo. We want some Mo. We want some Mo.
Daniel! Oh, so close.
That's a spin, isn't it? That's a spin. That's a spin.
So close.
That's a needle moved. All right. Send me. All right, boys. We got this. We can smell the rare air.
Justin making some good progress, but slightly too small of a jump. Let's go ahead and switch perspectives here and listen in on Justin now.
In a mental prison. Thank you. I can't read that, but I appreciate it.
Good jumps by Justin. Great. Oh, slightly too far.
Thank you. Thank you, Olympia Streets. Appreciate it.
And we're reaching the 35-minute mark now. Both players still almost tied.
It's a good grunge band name.
Hard to tell who even has the lead here. The players are so close together.
You hate when that happens.
Dan making progress again.
I just can't show it on.
Dan making good progress. Dies on the saw, but that's the earlier saw. So no extra progress there. It's hard to tell who is exactly in the lead here, as both players have essentially died on the same obstacle. So at this point, I know chat is probably going back and looking at who is in the lead. I'm not saying I don't trust chat, but we will, if we need to, if the race is too close to call by the end of the hour, we will go back ourselves and look and see who made it the furthest. If it comes down to that, we will have to do analysis on who is further. And if this becomes a consistent problem, like if this is the common thing, like if players are this close a lot, then I will get some people from chat to be my lead checkers to see who is in the lead. But Justin again here, doing pretty well, but not quite there. And still a good chunk of time remaining for both players here to make progress. They're still so close. Those last few jumps, if they can just make it over that saw, I think they'll be able to do it. Dan, good progress again. Has the flow slightly too fast. Justin, again, just not quite there on the jump. Both players getting so close each time, but they're just not quite getting to that same jump where they need to get to. I mean, at this point, with only 24 minutes left, you got to feel like, wait, Justin here. Oh, he misses. He misses the conveyor. You got to feel like the person to get the first checkpoint will win. I think at this stage we're over halfway in. It's so close that I think that might just be the advantage here. But we'll see if someone gets the checkpoint in the next 5 minutes or so. I think that leaves enough time for the other player to catch up for sure. As Dan, good progress again. Big jump, just a little bit too late. I feel like that was almost maybe even just a frame off. If he had jumped just a frame sooner, he would have made that jump. But both players still essentially neck and neck, a race too close to call. As we take a look at Justin, who's about to enter the tunnel, but doesn't quite get there. And again, it could just be any. This first section is so short, the restart time so quick that, I mean, look at both players in the tunnel at the same time. Justin takes a death on the end of it. Dan making his way through. Big jump. Oh, he jumped. That was so close. You could see it on his face. That was just... I mean, I don't think he could have gone any higher and hit that saw. I think that's about as high as you can go without hitting that saw, or with hitting that saw. I mean, that one hurt. That one hurt to watch. I feel bad because it was just so close. But I mean, I feel like Dan's got the consistency right now. I could see him make a break here. He's going. Big jump. Doesn't quite get it, though. He's just jumping a bit too early on that saw. And for those of you that are just joining him, both players are essentially tied. It's too close to call. If the race were to end right now, we'd have to go to video footage to decide a winner, as both players have died essentially on the same obstacle. But you can see that slight doubt in his jumps is still hurting Dan. He's really nervous about going too far to that saw, and that costs him the jump. And both players, as we approach the 40-minute mark, still essentially tied. I did not think we'd have this close of a race on the first go. I mean, again, Justin was the favorite coming in. We expected him to do well, but I mean, I don't think Justin has necessarily done bad here. I just think Dan has really shown that he's here to compete, and I think he has done better than expected. And again, it's not so much of Justin playing down, but rather Dan is playing up right now, which is benefiting him and making this a close game. Justin, a little pullback on that jump caused him to go a bit too high. But Justin out of the tunnel again. Let's see if he can make it through the small tunnel. No, I think that's Justin's big hurdle right now, is that small tunnel. You can see Dan with his spin jumps doesn't have as much trouble in it as he makes it through, but it takes a little bit too long on the small lower conveyor and gets launched into the saw there. But again, my favorite right now is Dan. I feel like he's making more consistent progress through the stage right now. But both players, I think, hitting another regression stage here. I think we had a good start, and then both players regressed about 20 minutes in, and then 30 minutes in, they started to make progress again. I think now we're at another stage of regression here where both players seem to be repeating deaths on the same obstacle because either they're in their own heads or they're just not sure about their jumps necessarily. But it's so close. Anything can happen here. I mean, we're down to pixels. Either player can take a significant lead here. That'll be huge. Dan again making it into the tunnel, taking his time. Makes his way out of the small tunnel. Has a chance here. Oh, just can't quite make it over the saw. Every time Dan seems to make it that far, he seems to just hit that last saw. You got to wonder if nerves are into play here as Justin finally making some progress. Justin has a jump, has a chance. He's at the checkpoint. He's done it. Justin, the first checkpoint of the Checkpoint League, he's got it. And that is a huge lead now for Justin. Dan had the consistency, but it only took one series of jumps for Justin to take the lead, and now he's on to Section 2. Dan's going to have to get that checkpoint quickly here if he wants to maintain this competition. You can see the amount of progress Justin has already made, but these jumps get difficult. I'm amazed Justin made it through that first middle section in one go. That was stellar, but this is where it's going to get difficult, especially without spin jumps. I don't know if this section is even possible without spin jumps. We'll have to see. But right now, it doesn't matter much because he's got the lead. And Dan has to make it to this first checkpoint if he wants to have a chance. Yeah, we'll go ahead and listen in on Justin here as he's finally made some big progress.
We'll be fine. I feel like I can't spin, though. I feel like my pride won't let me spin on this section. If I win because I spun the section, it would be the most hollow victory that's ever happened. It would be legitimately the most hollow win that's ever happened. No one would ever let me live it down. It's just not worth it. Ninja attack. Thank you.
All right, let's take a peek on Dan here, who needs to make up some ground as well. He's out of the tunnels. Oh,
Leaving too early there. I don't want to look too far ahead, but I feel like this part is execution, right? Just execution. I feel like for us on that hesitation, I feel like otherwise we go too fast. 1, 2, 3. Big jump.
good progress. Oh.
Got to be careful there, man. That's like, I feel if we launch ourselves, it just has not served us well. That's okay. Here we go. At least we're getting some cracks at it. All we want is some ABs. See what I mean? Like if I don't slow up there, that's where we got some issues. 16 minutes left. You know we're gonna cut it down to the last minute. This is what we do. Is what we do. It's a marathon, not a sprint, ladies and gentlemen.
He's not wrong. With 15 minutes remaining, again, if Dan makes it to that second checkpoint, he just needs to get to where Justin was before, and slightly further than that to take the win. So it's going to come down to this first checkpoint. I think as long as Dan gets it with about 5 minutes left, so if he gets it within the next 10 minutes and Justin doesn't make a huge amount of progress through this section, then there's still a chance for Dan here. Because Justin is repeatedly dying on the same obstacle here, and it's not even halfway up the second section. So Dan has the line in to still win here. He just needs that first checkpoint and a little bit of extra time, and he's making good progress here. He's over one. Oh, he doesn't get the second jump. He's so close. If he can just get there again, that's that speed change that gets you. The speed change can really, really affect you and make you think you're safe when you're not. And that definitely hurt him there. But that's it. If he can just do that one more time, I see him getting that first checkpoint. Justin's still making his way through section 2. Is he going to go for the spin? He does go for the spin. He's spun. Ladies and gentlemen, he has spun. He's done it. And that has given him progress through the level. As Dan, though, oh, he just misses the jump at the last second. It's so close. I want him to get I want this to be close. I want him to get that checkpoint at the very least. I'm okay with either competitor winning, but I want it to be close. And Dan needs that checkpoint if he's gonna try to make this happen, and he needs it quick. Justin's starting to gain on him and starting to extend that lead. This is that checkpoint factor. Dan, though, he has the jump. One more. Oh, he spins. He spins instead of regular jumps. Oh, you hate to see it. He was right there. He could have had it, but he just inputs the wrong jump. Got too caught up in the spins. But he is making progress. He is getting back to there consistently. He can still do this. Justin has not made it significantly through the second section. So again, Dan can still do this. He only needs a few minutes of time to at least get close. But we'll see if Justin can make it through these really difficult jumps here. Then that might seal the deal for him. If he can make it past the double munchers, I don't see Dan having enough time. I'm just gonna go ahead and listen to Justin again really quick.
You yell at me for 40 minutes to spin. I give you what you want, and you treat me like I'm a fucking fool? I can't even get over the easy saw now. Is that the joke? You tell me to spin for 40 minutes and then I spin and then you make me feel like I'm an asshole? Is that the joke? What's next? I even did 2 there. Oh my god.
Oh, Dan.
Monster,
Daniel.
Send min!
Oh, it's so close again.
Did we leave too late on that one? Chat, was that too late? That was a send, though. Okay.
It's so close here again with only 11 minutes remaining. Things are slipping away, though, for Dan. With Justin at the second checkpoint, Dan's going to need it here soon. He's still got time, though. He's got the jumps, but he just can't quite get there. Justin has made it to the double munchers. Again, if he makes it through those, I don't see Dan winning this anymore. I think he's just built too much of a lead at that point. But Dan, he's making it so well through here. He's making the jumps, but a little bit too late again. He can't seem to get that final jump down, and that might cost him at the end of this. At this point, it's just down to him. I'm not sure Justin's going to make a lot more progress through. Justin making his way through the vertical section. And again, you can see that he's being patient, so that's allowing him to make some pretty good progress here. And he's back to the double munchers again, but not quite getting the right jump there. That's another section where the spin jump is perhaps required. I can't say for certain. But we got 10 minutes left here in this last game. Remember, right after this, we have 2 more games. Next up is Jasky and Bear Taffy. They'll be taking on the same level you see here. And we'll see how both those players fare. But for now, the story is Dan versus Justin. Justin with the sizable lead and time running out on Dan. But he's making the jumps he needs to make. Oh, he takes a little bit too much time on the saw. He has it. That saw is his nemesis right now. He just can't seem to make it through. He's not out of time yet, though. Again, I think that 5 minutes remaining is where it really starts to come into effect here. I think once the timer hits 55, if Dan hasn't hit that checkpoint, it's almost lost. We want to see it. I know everyone in chat wants to see it. I know everyone in his chat wants to see it. So we're really pulling that he can at least get that first checkpoint. Justin, though, progressing through the double munchers. He's figured out the strat. He dies on the last set, but that might be enough. I think that's going to be enough here. That is almost definitely extended Dan's necessary time to make progress. And we could be looking at our first winner here in Justin, as Dan's still struggling on the first section. Can't quite seem to make it. You can see his progress through the first half of the section. It's really consistent now. Like it's unfortunate for him. I think he's just struggling with that last few couple of jumps. But you can see how well he does through this first section here. But again, time slowly ticking away as Justin is building what will likely be an insurmountable lead here through this second section. He's going to need his last chance soon here. He can't get discouraged, though. Justin still hasn't made it too far through the second section. Dan, couple of big jumps. He's making progress, but he dies to the saw again. He's landing a bit too far on the right of that conveyor is the problem, and he needs to jump sooner with the momentum. So he needs to catch the left side of that conveyor and then jump about halfway through. Progress again, though, but no, too late of a jump. It's all slipping away here. Dan's apparently got some music. Let's listen in on Dan here.
No matter what, ladies and gentlemen, they can put us on a fillet of fish. They can put us in a ham sandwich. But when you bite it, you're gonna know. That all roads, the checkpoint lead, comes through Minas Tirith, through Skokie, Illinois, through the Midwest. We may be ranked number 6 in the polls, but we're number 1 in the programming, number 1 in the ventricles.
Big jumps, Dan. Big jumps. Oh.
I want the checkpoint. I want to eat it. I want to taste the checkpoint. I just want to know what it's like out there.
All right, let's go. Let's switch over to Justin here. Just kidding.
Donkey, 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 donkey.
Got one.
That one hurt. I'm not even gonna lie. They had us in the first half.
We should bring it down here, though. At this point, it's almost certain that Justin has the win here now, unfortunately for Dan. But we're still rooting that he can get this first checkpoint, though. I think it's now at this point, it's a what do they call it? An emotional victory, you know. He just wants that first checkpoint, and honestly, at this rate, even if Dan ends up losing this match, I'm impressed with his performance. I think he's shown that, yeah, he can compete. Again, it really came down to that first checkpoint. I think that is the key difference here. If both players had made it a similar time, we'd have a totally different story here. And you could see the progress was pretty much equal for both players, as Dan, again, can't seem to nail the timing of that jump. But with 3.5 minutes here, it's looking pretty set in stone. It just seems to be a formality at this point. But we hope to see Dan get that checkpoint in the remaining minutes here. I'm rooting for him. Justin as well, still making extremely good progress too. Doesn't seem like Justin's going to make it to that second checkpoint. But had he reached the second section a bit sooner, I think we could have maybe potentially seen him get that second checkpoint. But again, 3 minutes remaining here. At this point, we can certainly say, unless a miracle happens, that Justin has achieved his first win of the Checkpoint League. And at this point, we just want to see Dan get that checkpoint. That's all we want to see. But regardless of the victor, again, an extremely close game for a majority of the match. He's only got a few more attempts here until time runs out. But if you're in the HCJustin camp, it's looking good. You know, we had a bit of a snafu with the spin jumps at the start, but still a strong showing from Justin. I think on the more I think on the maps that require him to spin jump, I could see him actually making some better progress too. Because he does seem to just not like to spin jump, which that at the end of the day could still affect him later on in the tournament. And again, big progress by Justin. Does clip a saw there on the level before the conveyor section, but at this point we can all but call it. But Dan, we just want to see that checkpoint. He's close. A few more jumps to go. Clears the saw. Doesn't clear the jump again, just by a fraction. Ugh. He's got a couple more attempts left in him, though. We'll go ahead and bring Discord up here and get ready to speak to the competitors. Oh, it seems like we've run out of spirit for Dan. I would give him maybe 2 more tries at best here. He's got the symbol out. I think this is his last attempt. Maybe one more. He died a little bit early. But maybe one more go here. And I think that'll do it, unfortunately. As we will go ahead with the final 10 seconds here. And we'll go ahead and call it now. HCJustin will be your game 1 winner. Congratulations to HCJustin. Let's go ahead and jump on in with him here. Justin.
Hey.
Congratulations. You've won game 1.
Hey. Thank you.
It was a really close game for most of the time, but once you got that first checkpoint, it was clean from there.
Yeah.
Dan struggled. He got you both were essentially tied throughout the entire game until that.
I saw people saying that. It was making me sweat.
But that checkpoint made the difference. But congratulations. You got your first win.
Thank you very much.
We'll talk more about the level in a second. I'm going to let Dan know as he's still giving it attempts here. But I can join back in the main commentary when we're ready, because you said you wanted to co-commentate, right?
Yeah. So I'll see you up there.
Absolutely. All right.
Cool.
Daniel.
It's never over.
My man, it was so close. It was so close. I'm sorry to say, though, that Justin did reach the first checkpoint.
Congratulations to that guy.
Yeah, but hey, man, I am super happy with your performance. I'll say, like, you and him were tied essentially for 30 plus minutes. You guys were virtually tied on the same obstacle. It was really just that first checkpoint that made the difference. So it was close, man.
Yeah, good show, man. It was a good level. I gotta say, I feel like we're gonna be slept on the whole tournament, and I look forward to next week.
Hey, man, after that, you've gone up places, at least in my opinion.
No. Hey, look, you put me in the cellar. You lock the door. I look around. There's some fursuits. I'm like, hey, look, whatever. Yeah, no joke. Whatever people like to. Hey, we're gonna get ourselves out of the cellar. I can promise you that.
All right, man. We'll see about it next week.
All right. Good luck, man.
Thank you. Have a good